Hey, what's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Grateful to be in the building on today. What's up? It is Tuesdays with Tawana. I am Dr. Tad, Rev T, your host and your curator for this vodcast slash podcast. Whew, that airs every Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where we build community one womanist episode at a time through sharing, through storytelling, through current events, through funny experiences, through everything and anything. No topic is off limits up in this space. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're listening later on to any of your where you get your podcasts, welcome and thank you for listening. Thank you for joining for this live space. Y'all know the rules or the guidelines. You insert your comments in the chat, and I will then insert your comment into this narrative to be heard because we are building community. It's not about me talking for the entire 25, 30 minutes that we have together. These opportunities are to posit information, to grapple with information, to celebrate events and opportunities. And then we go on and hopefully apply what we have learned, any takeaways, into building our Black beloved community. So, speaking of Black beloved community, I titled this moment, What's Good, Fam? Hey, Tony, I'm glad you made it today. It's always great to see you. Um, so I titled What's Good, Fam, because of course I have so much on my mind and so much that I want to talk about and so many questions for my beloveds out there in community. And just want to share a couple of things. Look forward to your feedback and your comments. And we're going to start with beloved community and the origin of beloved community and how we as Black beloveds, beloveds of our BIPOC beloveds, how we have shifted that narrative to beloved community to be inclusive and diverse and eclectic and complex, whereas I guess the beginnings of the term beloved community was very exclusive, exclusionary, for only a certain group of people. And then, in light and in honoring Women's History Month, particularly Black Women's History Month, we have beautiful beloveds like Toni Morrison and Lucille Clifton and Bell Hooks and Audre Lorde and Alice Walker and others who continue to shift the narrative of beloved to be more inclusive than exclusive. Shifting gears along with beloved community, how Western Christianity has really got us twisted and have us operating in this um in a way that we're following a system that really wasn't designed for our well-being, our survival to begin with. So we are then indoctrinated into this dehumanizing prowess, and we do the same to others as we claim we don't want others to do to us, but we turn around like the oppressed becoming the oppressor. So, what's good, fam? How do we then, as we shifted the narrative to beloved community, how do we then shift the narrative of this organized religion that continues to dehumanize beloveds, women, those of the queer community, our femme beloveds, those who are further away from the proximity of whiteness? um, how do we then continue to shift the narrative and impart a narrative that is rooted in love and honor and dignity and honoring the divine in each one of us, instead of placating to the white supremacist thought and behaviors of people who created systems that were never designed for our survival. And they're still amazed at how we are surviving in this world and even thriving. Because, as Lucille Clifton says, everything that has tried to kill me has failed as a collective. Now, let us not use that statement to disregard those beloveds who have been killed physically. And it's up to us to make sure that we speak their names so that their ancestral spirit can still live among us and we can still be in relation, and their blood will no longer cry from the ground for justice because we are actually living out justice. So, what's good, fam, with not naming and continuing to honor those who have been killed, mind, body, or spirit, to the systems that weren't designed to honor us or acknowledge us? I want to pause and acknowledge our beloved. I believe in California, and I don't have the name in front of me. I do apologize. Y'all know this is impromptu, and you know that I have chemo brain. So unless I write it down and it's in front of me, sometimes I don't remember. But the beautiful beloved who was killed, who was diagnosed with autism, and young beloved. And how do we then defend those same systems that continue to kill us because of the unknown, because of assumptions, because of their own embedded fear, because of their um, racist ways and dehumanizing ways? They think that because they are retaliatory and because they are always finding ways to capitalize off of somebody else's demise, that everyone is going to do the same and come back at them and do that which they have done to us. And sometimes, if I'm honest, I wish we would do that. I wish we would come back at them. And at the same time, we are divine. We are better than that. We are beautiful. We're brilliant. We're creative. So we can come back, and we can come back in ways that may not, that will not, that shall not conform to the racist, white supremacist ways of this nation. Speaking of which, what's good, fam, with us not supporting our own? I understand that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I get it. That's why we call it white supremacy and white supremacist thought and white supremacist ideologies, because you do not have to be white to have these ideologies. Hence, blacks for number 45, or those that stand on a stage as puppets and tokens to show their support for number 45. So I do understand, I'll put that caveat out there, that not all skin folk is kinfolk. Hey, brother. Yeah, I know you love my Angela Davis shirt, because guess who gave it to me, y'all? My brother. Those who will be listening, I have on my Angela Davis shirt that says, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change, and I am changing the things I cannot accept. Hence, this conversation today. I am no longer accepting those things, right? I got, the camera's kind of backward. I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. And that is okay. There are some things that is just not my job, not my assignment. I cannot change you. I can't change your thoughts, your ways, but what I can do is I am changing the things that I cannot accept. I will not accept you dehumanizing me. I will not accept you funneling money to Israel. I will not accept you ignoring the women and children and beloveds and our siblings that are dying right now in Haiti and in Palestine. So I will make a change, and I will not be caused to be shameful of how I make the change. So my way is to give voice to those things, to give voice to the silenced, to give voice to the ignored. And I do it through this platform, and I do it in other platforms when I'm speaking, or, I'll wear regalia that is supportive of my siblings to make a statement because my mere existence is resistance to the systemic ills that are happening. Just the mere fact that I am alive and I am surviving breast cancer is resistance, because 41% of Black women died disproportionately as compared to white women. We often are higher in number in many areas, including domestic violence and including other ailments and ills, and our Black beloved brothers and siblings and beloveds who die prematurely, unnecessarily, because we don't have access to care. All of that is intentional. So, what's good, beloved, when we talk about ourselves and talk about what is good? We can talk about what's good as a question or a statement. Hey, Miss Odessa, good to see you, beloved. I always love when you pop on, and may God continue to bless and keep you as well, beloved Odessa. So, when I talk about what's good, I want to highlight, especially, particularly during this Black Women's History Month, really talking about what's good and how we should, and or we have an opportunity to go against the status quo of, when I disagree with someone, I have to defame them or dismiss them or disregard them. And then I don't want people to do that to me, when I want my feelings, my thoughts, my words, my actions to be honored and acknowledged. We can agree to disagree, Black beloveds, BIPOC beloveds, and still find a way to journey together toward liberation. I don't necessarily have to seek white institutions for validation. Speaking of which, I know that there has been a conversation, and again, it could be my algorithm, but there has been a lot of conversation around, Black beloveds getting degrees and conforming to this white society of, you got to have your master's degree, you got to do this, you got. And I solely disagree with that tenet. I disagree with that stance, that attitude, that ideology. It is all about what you do with it and what you bring to the table. Your experience absolutely is validated without a degree. And there are others who seek knowledge via um institutions that have resources for me to tap into. It's kind of organized resources, and it's what I'm looking for. Although I went to or attended a white institution that was about social justice, and yet still did not have too many people looking like me or my BIPOC community. They try, and they still have a long way to go. And at the same time, I was able to seek resources on womanism, seek resources of Black resources, of Black articles and journal articles and things of that nature, that gave me an opportunity to learn from someone that looks like me, to learn from someone that has similar beliefs and similar ideologies and similar stances in this world. So I don't look at my degree or degrees as a way to uh put value to my life. I'm valuable with or without those degrees. I am valuable just because of this moment, because I am, because just because I am valuable. So when I talk about what's good, yeah, all of this is good. All of us in this diaspora have an essence of goodness and love that can bring us together, so we can stop tearing each other down like crabs in a barrel. Like, I don't agree with your stance and how all of a sudden you were an entertainer and now you become political. Who are we to police someone's growth and evolution? People can change. People can change themselves. I'm not in a position to change anybody. As a matter of fact, for those who believe in a higher power, specifically or particularly God, God gave us free will, so that God doesn't even control what we do by choice. because God is all knowing, all powerful, all seeing, and gave us free will. And unfortunately, those with free will also choose to take away other people's freedoms. And then we end up, those who are not in close proximity to whiteness, we then bear the brunt of the outcomes, the negative outcomes, the disparaging numbers, the misaligned um thought processes and humanization of beloveds. And the results of that comes internal fighting, because they're going to posit seeds to make sure that we don't come together and remember Black Wall Street. We don't come together and remember Henrietta Lacks. We don't come together to remember that slavery was not something that was beneficial for us, idiots. And being enslaved dehumanized us, killed us, separated us from our families, separated us from our culture, separated us from humanity. And yet Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, kept pressing forward and fighting the good fight. Jarena Lee, all of those kept fighting against the status quo in order to honor who we are as divine human beings, and not succumb or give into or placate this false narrative of who we are and who we are not. What's good, fam? What's good is that we really need to start thinking about and critically thinking, not just thinking, because then we're thinking based on what we see and what we know and what we experience, which is whiteness. The critical piece is tearing down and removing the veil and looking behind the text and the experience to say, nah, this wasn't designed for me. Nah, you know what? They still calling out indigenous First Nation beloved savages in the Constitution. This wasn't written for me. Yeah, in some states we've removed the word slavery, and the word slavery is still in some state constitutions because it talks about an exception. You can't do this, this, and this except during slavery. So, how do we then come together? And when we challenge ourselves, what's good is also a greeting, right? Like you say, hey, beloved, how you doing? Do you really want to know how they're doing? Are you really going to stand there for a good 3, 5, 10 minutes to journey and explore and to share soul to soul what's going on in their world? Or are you just saying how you doing as a or what's good, fam, and you leaving it there and it's a greeting and we keep it moving? When can we take it to the next level and start making time for each other and having this curiosity that is naturally embedded in us? When I see somebody and if I feel an energy that's just not sitting well with me, what's good, fam? Oh, okay. You want me to sit and listen? You don't want to talk about it? I'm sending you love and light, an energy of healing and strength and courage and protection and whatever it is that's needed in that moment. We should never be too busy to check in on our fam and to support our fam. So, speaking of support, I was thinking about Amanda Seals this morning and how she has been blackballed in our beloved community. Um, she she is saying the things that need to be said. And if you don't agree with it, instead of looking through a lens and projecting your limited or limiting beliefs, why not take that and reflect and look in the mirror and say, why does that bother me so? Why is it that Amanda Seals is not being honored by the NAACP or the Oscars or the Emmys? Well, white institutions and our black institutions. Why is this happening? And what does this mean for me? That's another way to insert blackness and cooperative um thinking and believing. When we talk about the principles of Kwanzaa, and we talk about, cooperative economics and faith, and doing to get things together as a community. What happens to Amanda Seals happens to me. What happens to me happens to you. So there should be an inquisitive question of what's good. How are we going to move forward with this? How are we going to give access to people that don't have access? How are we going to provide homes for the houseless? How are we going to provide medical care for those that can't afford and are kept out of the access to adequate medical care? Why is it, or how can I stop this from happening in my, what used to be a Black and brown community, and now gentrification has now changed that and shifted it and has moved me out of my own birthplace, or out of the place where I've lived for so long, and now I can no longer afford it. So now I need to move out, and I need to move in with what's good, fam? What's good about us coming together and making some things happen for one another? What's good about sharing resources that we live and not die at the hands of systemic ills? What's good about loving each other unconditionally? Because then I love myself. I can't pour from an empty cup. So I love myself so that I can love others. What's good, fam? What's good is that white supremacy is happening right in front of our face, and they are blatantly telling us what they are going to do, how they are going to do it, and why they are going to do it. And it seems as if we are sitting silently by, just letting it happen. And we cannot have this pious, quiet, um, laid back, like, oh, it's not really going to happen. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Oh, it's not, until it really happens. And we should no longer wait for it to happen to us personally, but the personal is political, and it's a communal personal. Like Audre Lorde says, it's communal. It's not just about me. Well, if it's not impacting my family, I don't care. I just want to vote for Trump because I want to pay for less taxes. I even had a brown person tell me that they want to close the border, and they called people illegals. When are we going to stop calling people out of their true essence, instead of saying that the system is broken? And since we are land of the free, home of the brave, give me your poor, your hungry, when we were never that country, let's just name that. But when do we then live up to that which we have written and that we have proposed? And how do we, living in America as from the African diaspora, now insert a communal narrative into this individualistic white supremacist system? We shouldn't call people, oh, you're a felon. No, you are a human being who went to jail and you now have a record. Oh, you're poor. No, I am a human being who is living in impoverished conditions. Oh, you're an illegal. No, I escaped war and had to escape to a place that was supposed to afford me freedoms so that I can get asylum. Or I escaped a place that the system is so jacked up, it's so hard for me to get my license, my social security, my whatever, and not making excuses for illegal behavior, but we also have to look at, why is it illegal, what is illegal, and who put these laws and rules into place. Like, it is illegal all of a sudden to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community, or it is illegal to have an abortion, or it is illegal to participate in the IVF process. All of this is rooted in whiteness, beloved, and we got to ask ourselves, what's really good? What's really good, fam? How are we going to come against the status quo that tries to kill us every day by any means necessary? We are too divine for that. We are too brilliant. We are too beautiful. We have dignity. We are human beings who are, this shell of ours is housing a beautiful essence that is ready to be just emote and just come out into the world to come against that which is trying to kill us. So, my charge for you today, especially during this Black Women's History Month, look up somebody from, whether it is those from Hidden Figures, whether it is those, the beloved who created the GPS, or your mother, grandmother, biological or otherwise, and the great strides that they have taken in order for us to even be here today, no matter how small or large. Think about a Black beloved woman, femme, gender expansive, for Black Women's History Month that you can relate to. When we think of a Marsha P. Johnson, we should be thinking of Marsha P. Johnson and their bravery during this Black Women's History Month. We should be thinking about those who set examples for us to live out loud and live bold and unapologetically. So, what's good, fam? You are. You are. And I am because you are. This is Dr. Tad with Tuesdays with Tawana. Every Tuesday, 2 o'clock, 30 minutes. We chop it up, one womanist episode at a time. You can share this, revisit this on my page, on my Dr. Tad page. It's on all various podcast platforms. It'll show up on Instagram when I remember to upload it. It is on YouTube. I love y'all for listening, and I love y'all to the moon and beyond. Have a beautiful day today. And when you look in the mirror and smile and you say, "What's good?" just point at yourself, wink at yourself, blow yourself a little kiss. Mwah. Yeah, let's do this. We don't have to conform to the ills of this society, beloved. Ashe, ashe, asheo. I'm out. Later.